So, welcome back, family. Those who have seen some of my shorts may know what some of these items are. Again, I recently went on a Central Texas barbecue pilgrimage recently and had a blast. Was there with my good friends at ZZQ here in Richmond. We went to 18 different places, I think, over 7 days. It was a lot of barbecue, a lot of fun. So I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of a recap. Again, if you if I'll try to add a link to my Instagram, you can actually see some of the pictures and videos I took during that trip there. So I'll make sure I'll link it in the description below. Also, if you like things like this, as well as the shorts that you've seen, go ahead and hit like and subscribe for me, and that will help me out. But yeah, no, 1 week in Texas was really fun, especially going with the restaurant I'm a very regular at. So it was good to kind of be in that atmosphere. So we hit a bunch of places. We flew into Dallas to and then rented a car to meet up with some of the leadership team of the restaurant in Fort Worth. That's the first Sunday. The Sunday was the first day. So I actually met up with them at the number one place, according to Texas Monthly, and that's Goldie's. So Goldie's, again, great barbecue there. They luckily were in line fairly early. It's good atmosphere again, hang out in line, drinking all that stuff, fun stuff. And I'll see if you look at my Instagram, you can see some of the pictures and the videos I took there. But yeah, had Goldies. I would say once we actually got through to the order line and they had the burnt end bites, that was probably the best bite of brisket I had during the trip. It was so good. Yeah, it's hard to compete with that. The tray itself was fine. I would say the turkey as well as the pork spare ribs were among the highlights there at Goldie's. They had really some good slides, including the slaw, which I think had a little bit of I think we did determine it was kale and the slaw, but overall solid experience. But that wasn't the only thing that we hit in Fort Worth. So right after Goldie's, we actually went to Dane's Craft Barbecue, and that's where you see here. Dane's really cool spot. They actually held some food for us because we let them know we are on the way, but really cool. Actually, I think I liked it better than Goldie's overall in Fort Worth. So if you're in that Fort Worth area, make sure you try Dane's. It's definitely worth it. Um, One of the bigger things there is they had a couple of burgers that they held for us, and I'm glad they did because that was probably the best burger I ever had. So much so that I decided to get some of their swag, obviously. Um, but yeah, everything else, you can tell that they put some thought and kind of tried some different things here. The pickled red onions seemed like they had some cinnamon on it. They had some candied jalapenos, which some people like, some people don't. But overall, really great tray of food there. But again, the burger was kind of the big highlight there. So yeah, if you're in the Fort Worth area, definitely try them out because I don't think they get the love that some of the other places in Fort Worth do, like Goldie's. And the third stop in our Fort Worth trip, unfortunately, they sold out before we actually got there, so we only had a quick drink there. And that was Panther City Barbecue. But again, seemed like a cool spot, closer to the downtown area. But yeah, maybe next time we'll be able to try some of their stuff out. So again, that was just day one in Fort Worth. So day two was a little bit of a ride. So again, I had a rental car and took some of the folks with me, and we kind of took a scenic route on our way to Austin, which was kind of our home base for the week. But we hit some towns, um, you know, saw some town squares with the Texas courthouse in the middle and stuff like that. But one of the places that we had barbecue wise was Cooper's in Lano, Texas, and that probably was where I had the best meat all throughout the trip was at Cooper's. Between they're known for their the home of the big chop, and the massive pork chop was so good. Um, so yeah, that was definitely one of the best meats I had throughout the trip. They had some goat, which was a little different, and compared to some of the other places that we went to in Austin, where it's kind of the more maybe modern style craft barbecue. Cooper's is definitely more of the old school style, old school pits, big smoker boxes, open fire pits, stuff like that. So it was, kind of cool to see the differences between the two. So yeah, Cooper's and Lano. I think there's a couple other Coopers around there. I think we actually saw them at the stockyards when we were in Fort Worth as well. So, but the Cooper's and Lano was really good. Um, so yeah, went there on the way to Austin. Got to Austin and met up with the rest of the staff there. So our group of 10 turned into a group of 24 by Monday night. Hung out in Austin that night. So for the very next morning, on that would be Tuesday morning. First thing we got was Franklin. So we went to the line at Franklin. Again, Franklin's very well renowned. Kind of started the whole modern craft barbecue movement. So definitely worth it. I think great tray. The line was fun. We had a few people went out to get some kolaches from Batch to bring back to us, and they opened their doors so you can grab some Lone Stars and buy some swag while you're waiting and stuff like that. So it was really good. The again, the pork ribs kind of stand out to me there, as well as the brisket was pretty solid there. It was from what I hear from others who went on the trip 4 years prior to that, they had a better experience this time around at Franklin compared to the last time. So definitely good. Definitely glad I checked it off the list because it's kind of one of those must go tos if you're a big barbecue aficionado. So after we started there, we kind of veered back into the old school and went to Lockhart, which is kind of known as the barbecue capital of Texas. So first stop there was Cray's Market. So we went to Cray's Market. Really good poultry there. I think I had a really good piece of chicken there. Um, Big again, old school style, big smoker box, open pits, stuff like that. Um, and Yeah, it was really cool, really fun. I think they had a signed Nolan Ryan jersey, Astros, rainbow jersey there. That was kind of cool and stuff like that. So great atmosphere, big dining hall, stuff like that. So yeah, did that. We hung around Lockhart for a little bit, so we hit that. We hit kind of that town square um, there and hit Smitty's as well. That's where we kind of took that, the picture of all the post oak um, lined up in the backyard and with a good shot of the courthouse in the background. So we took that shot. Really good fun. It's just interesting to see like literally open fire pits and like on the ground as you walk in. It's like, oh, watch your step, you may catch on fire. Stuff like that that you usually don't see with some of the typical like um, propane tank type. So yeah, that was fun. So we did that. We went to Craze. We went to Smitty's. Went to a cool bar. I think it was called Old Pal. Thank God for that. You know, Probably the most patient bartender there, serving 24 people all at once on a random Tuesday. Um, so that she did well. She did very well. So we did that. We went to Black's while we were in town there, kind of as our last stop to order just a beef rib there. Try their beef rib. Definitely tell it was very well cooked. Just kind of wish had a little bit more flavor in the bark compared to what I'm usually getting every week at ZZQ, but still very well done, well cooked beef rib there. So yeah, that was our Tuesday. Still pretty fun at this point. Still not most everyone and not tired of the barbecue yet, but um, obviously I've been eating barbecue every week for almost 5 years now. Some of the staff maybe not as much, so you can start seeing some fatigue set in a little bit. So that brings us to Wednesday. Wednesday was a big trip because we did a back and forth from Austin to Houston. It's a big day trip, almost like 3 hours each way. I think it's like 2 hours 45 minutes. But we definitely was worth it, especially with our first stop was at Truth Barbecue. So Truth again, they have This was their new location in Houston. I think their original was in Brenham, but had a blast there. You can tell, it was definitely a good camaraderie between Truth and CZQ. You can see a lot of the atmosphere was probably the closest in terms of the dining atmosphere was probably closest to what I'm used to at ZZQ. So you can see that come through in their space. Great people. Had a blast there. Again, one of our slicers was able to join their line, which was a pretty cool moment. So, again, and their combination of the meats and their sides were phenomenal as well. So you can tell, some of the old school places that we had in Lockhart, not a lot of thought put together in the sides compared to some of the newer school stuff, but you can tell that in truth. So from there we went to Blood Brothers actually, and Blood Brothers was pretty cool. I didn't get anything from them, but it's very different because it has a little bit of Asian inspired barbecue. The pitmaster is Vietnamese, like I am, so you can definitely tell that coming in with some of the menu pieces. One of which was a noodle dish with brisket. I can right away tell. I was like, oh, this is what we call pho chow. But instead of just like the regular like sliced beef or whatever protein you put it in, they put in a beef brisket. So I was like, oh, that's a cool take. And I will say the rice noodles were cooked to perfection. So I made sure the pitmaster knew that. So that was good. That was probably one of the better other non-meat dishes that I had was that rice noodle. So to kind of end with our Houston trip, we went to Fiji's barbecue. Again, this one very notable in terms of I think this was one of the first places that we had during the trip that did whole hog barbecue. So those of us on the East Coast kind of are fairly familiar with it. Um, Especially if you're in the Carolinas, about Rodney Scott, whole lot barbecue. It is definitely good. Definitely worth trying it out if you're usually just ready doing pulled pork. But yeah, that was great. The fries actually were phenomenal as well. There was some interesting decor outside that, and if you look at some of the pictures in my Instagram, you'll see what I'm talking about cupcake and apparently it's with the kids. It's just like gives the um, adults nightmares when you look at it. But great hospitality there as well. But yeah, good places. So Houston was definitely worth the trip going back and forth. Now at this point, you'll say a lot of people were pretty much at their limit with the barbecue. So we did take it easy a little bit more on the next day back in Austin. So we really only hit two places. First of which was Interstellar. So they're again fairly high up on the Texas Monthly list. I will say they probably had the best sides overall from all the places that we had. They had the Gouda shells, smoked Gouda shells were phenomenal. They had a gratin dish. They had a zucchini tomato dish that was phenomenal as well. So like overall, they probably had the best sides of the trip in my opinion. Really great. Had some burgers there, I think, or sandwiches there. And I did kind of like their theme in their cellar. They had a smoker called Maurice, so Space Cowboy, and a lot of Steve Miller references in there. So definitely dig that. So definitely had to get some of their stuff. So the other place that we hit, we actually kind of went to the location the first night in Austin, and that was Leroy and Lewis, which has a food truck in the Cosmic Coffee kind of area in Austin, which is a nice outdoor venue with a couple food trucks, a bar, stuff like that, outdoor eating. So went there, had some beef cheek, which was phenomenal, um, and had some. I think we had like a Ritz cheese dessert or something like that. It was very interesting to have. So again, great hospitality from them. Glad that we were able to try some of that beef cheek before it sold out. But yeah, definitely if you're in the Austin area, make sure you order get some beef cheek early at Leroy and Lewis. So yeah, after that, again, only had the two spaces places there to help people kind of recover from that pretty long Wednesday in Houston and like overall a lot of barbecue. But also wanted to make sure everyone was kind of reset for um, the that Friday when we went to San Antonio. So San Antonio surprisingly was one of the better places I think overall to go for barbecue. Honestly, so we did say I would say before we actually went there, we started off kind of in that Tex-Mex barbecue range by stopping at Valentina's for some breakfast tacos, which again, I think some of you have seen my Instagram or my YouTube with the reel of all those breakfast tacos. They were definitely legit. Again, one of the better items that we had throughout the trip. But then again, we made our way to San Antonio, which was again not too bad of a ride, especially compared to what we did for Houston. And we started at 2M Smokehouse. Again, great relationship with them, so we had great hospitality there. The brisket was, and both places that we went to in San Diego were phenomenal, and you can definitely tell the difference between the woods that are used there. But to them, especially, the one thing that I will kind of highlight is the desserts. You can tell the desserts are just at another level compared to everyone else. Um, and you'll see some of my videos about that in terms of just people just like jaw dropping when they have those desserts. One of which was I had the obviously anything that's bourbon and pecan I'm gonna get, so I got that. But that ube cheesecake that was there was otherworldly. So definitely try the desserts when you go to 2M Smokehouse, but try everything there. So after that, we went to Reese Brothers. Reese Brothers is fairly new to the scene, if I'm not wrong, but they all, I think, actually had the best bite of brisket outside of that first bite at Goldie's. But overall, yeah, their meats were phenomenal, which is, again, one of the things that kind of cemented why I think San Antonio is probably the most underrated place in Texas for barbecue right now and should really be considered like a good barbecue destination at this point. So, yeah, Reese Brothers, again, great spread there. Had I think great meats, good outdoor venue there. Can't really say enough about them. So with that, so you had Valentina's, you had 2M, we had Reese Brothers, and then we finally, and then still in San Antonio with something a little different with the Curry Boys. Again, similar to like Blood Brothers, it's kind of different take on barbecue, but still have some barbecue elements, some rice curry dishes with different elements of barbecue chicken, brisket, whatnot. And that I think that one had a really good smoked mushroom dish there. So really great. Again, something different, especially at this point. We've had a lot of just barbecue, so that I think that was good. Good change up for it. So again, San Antonio, don't sleep on it for barbecue. I definitely recommend going for there. So that's Friday, and then the last day is Saturday. At this point, most people are over it, but I still could keep on going. So only hit two places on the last day in Austin. The first one being La Barbecue. Again, interesting, really cool space. The bathrooms were just different in a good way, I would say, in a very good way. So yeah, bathrooms, definitely try them out. Food solid. Um, Micklethwaite was the last spot we hit there, and it was actually their 10th anniversary. So yeah, really good. I think along with I think this was actually where I had the best beef rib in Texas was at Micklethwaite. But again, overall their meats were great. Their sides were solid. But yeah, it was a fun spot. Had some live music there. Again, it was their 10th anniversary as well. But it was fun. It was cool. It was a good way to kind of end and come down from a full week of barbecue. But that was it. So yeah, overall, I think some of the best meats I thought were here at Cooper's. Best overall, probably one of the places in San Antonio. Yeah. Love Truth's atmosphere. Love the sides at Interstellar. Love the desserts at 2M. But yeah, it's hard to decide what was best over all of them. I kind of liked it all. So that's my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this quick recap of my trip. Again, I'm going to link my Instagram in the description so you can check out some more photos and videos I did there. Otherwise, hit like and subscribe to help me out, and thanks for stopping by.